How is everyone today? This is Calvin, Professor C. So today we are continuing on to our second part of problematic property, which some of those properties are either very difficult to get approved on the mortgage, or they are just, outright cannot be approved at all, right? So we are going to look at some of these properties once again. This is part 2 of the series. Enjoy. Next is too rural. What do I mean by that is some of the community, they are very far off, very far away, like they may not have road there. I have a client that want to buy an island inside a lake, and the only way that you can go there is usually either by private plane or something like that, water plane, like those type of stuff. You just have to be very careful if it is something that you are encountering. Then just ask, or ask those ask the people or ask the bank in that area. 7 is cottage, very similar to number 6. Cottage, when you're dealing with cottage, you have to see whether it is like all season have access, what kind of heating it is, do they have water that is it well water or municipal water? You just have to ask more questions. Cottage nowadays, more and more people are buying cottage, so it's more acceptable. I think out of all these points that I point out today, cottage is some of those that is easier, relatively speaking, easier to get approval. So cottage, but just beware. And if people are buying property in Muskoka, Whistler, and all that, then you know that you might be dealing with cottage. Next is mobile home. Most of the big lender may not borrow to mobile home. Mobile home is those like, is a home that you can tow to a RV park or to a provincial park, and then park there, and then you live in it. They have a kitchen and all that stuff. Usually banks and trust companies do not lend to those mobile home. Okay, you don't usually see it, but even if you see it, I think it's too difficult for a new mortgage agent to do it. Lastly, senior home with restricted ownership. So this one is like some of the property, they are only going to sell it to people who is 65 years old or more, something like that. So like they're not going to sell it to anyone, right? So most banks or trust company do not like to lend to this type of property, because there's not a market, there's only a limited market for this type of property. And if you do not pay and they foreclose your house, then they took it, it may be take them like 6 months or a year to sell it. And so most banks or trusts do not touch this type of property. So this is senior home with restricted ownership, right? So there you go. I have pointed out 9 different types of property that you need to be aware of. There are certainly more properties that are problematic, but I think for your purpose, this 9 should be sufficient. And when you encounter other property, then you can ask your manager, ask the underwriter. One very important point that I want to point out is there are always some lender that is going to lend to you or lend to your client, including private lender or something like that. You just have to find them. And again, I'm not saying that 100% of this property, they are not going to do it. You don't even have to call or ask. No, I know even some grow-ups or drug labs that has been, busted by the cops can be financed. It's just that because you're a new agent, you need to be aware of this type of stuff so that you do not waste your time gathering all the documentation, doing the client interview, wasted your whole day, 2 days, weekend, and then submitting it in the Logics and then find out that you're wasting your own time. That's the main purpose of my video. Okay, so there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this part of the video, and if you like, subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, put me some comments on it. Right now YouTube changed their algorithm in 2020. It helps me a lot if you do that. Okay, thank you very much. Take care.